Alright, yes we are. What's up guys, I'm McKinley Crain here, and today I'm going to be doing my spoiler-free movie review of the 2021 film that I just watched yesterday, which was the recent horror drama, aka psychological thriller. Well, it can also be considered a psychological thriller, which was Don't Tell a Soul. Anyway, this film stars Jack Dylan Grazer as Joey, and it co-stars Fionn Whitehead as his older brother, Matt. And this movie, I think it obviously doesn't take place like in the present because, not a single smartphone is seen in the movie. And they don't really reference the usage of smartphones in this movie. And it just looks like it. It just seems like it's in the past. So I'm assuming that this takes place in the early 2000s. And so this movie's story is like this. So Joey and Matt's mother is sick, and so they decide to rob an old lady's house. She wasn't there, of course. She wasn't at the house at the time. To rob an old lady's house so they can get the money to help support, their sick mother. And, as they're getting away, they run into Officer Hamby, who's played by Rainn Wilson. And they immediately bolt, and as he's running after them, he falls into an empty well out in the middle of the woods. And basically, he's stuck down there, and Matt, who's the older brother, is just like, okay, he's staying down there. We can't let anybody know our secret. Somebody will find. At first he says that somebody will find him. It's not our problem. Somebody will find him if he just yells long enough. But Joey, the younger brother, knows that ain't right. So basically, he goes back to the well and gives the dude some supplies and stuff, and obviously wants to help him escape, but he knows he can't because his older brother Matt won't let him. And what comes afterwards is a whole lot of intensity and twists and turns and craziness and a lot of psychological themes too, and that I can't really get into because this is a spoiler-free review and this would be spoilers. Anyway, I love this movie. I expected this movie to be great, but I didn't expect it to be perfect. And let me tell you, it's perfect. It's in my top 10 best films of 2021 so far. Is it my favorite film of 2021 so far? No, but it's one of my favorites. I love it. It's very psychological. It's very intense. It's got a lot of strong acting, especially from Jack Dylan Grazer, Fionn Whitehead, and Rainn Wilson, the three main characters. They all give equally strong performances, equally great performances, and I just love what this movie does. This movie feels like this movie feels like a modern version of like the Twilight Zone mixed with like a teen drama movie. It's like, that's what it feels like, and it works. It works very well. It's very suspenseful. It's very psychological. It's very gripping. You want to know. It makes you want to like know what happens next. It's very compelling. It's just really intriguing. And it's really gripping. And I just loved what this movie did. And I loved like the choices it made, because they were just so awesome and so smart. This movie has like really good writing. The twists and turns in this movie are very well earned and very satisfying. And I just love this movie's dark and mature themes. You know, they just give this movie this awesome feeling that feels right. Like, it feels like it's supposed to be the kind of feeling that you feel when you watch this movie. The overall atmosphere that it creates is just right for this movie. It's perfect. The pacing is perfect. There's absolutely nothing wrong with the pacing. And you know, a lot of people would expect there to be a lot of like, you know, problems with the pacing, since the movie's only like an hour and 23 minutes long, but there are no problems with the pacing whatsoever. Pacing's perfect. Everything's perfect. The beginning's perfect. The middle's perfect. The ending's perfect. And, you know, this movie, I love what this movie does, and what kind of like themes and points it's trying to point out. A big theme in this movie is the theme or the idea that human beings are complicated. It's like, we'll cross certain lines, but we won't cross others. And, you know, in certain situations, we might cross, like, those lines that we wouldn't cross and stuff like that. And, you know, it also it also explores, you know, like, the theme of, like, you know, somebody doing something wrong for what they believe is the right cause. Like, so basically, doing something wrong for the right reasons. And what's actually the right thing to do, and that you can't really like believe everything you know. And those things just make this movie awesome, and I love this movie, and it's really underrated. And if you love psychological thrillers, hopefully you'll love this one, and you'll probably love this one, or at least like it. I don't know for sure, but I love it. And I think that this is Rainn Wilson's best thriller yet. The only other thriller film I've seen with Rainn Wilson in it was Shimmer Lake, which was great, but not as great. It wasn't perfect. This film, on the other hand, Don't Tell a Soul, is perfect. Anyway, I'm going to give this movie a 100% out of a 100%, which is the equivalent of an A+. Like, subscribe, join the notification squad, I will return.